Hey guys, Grifton here, and today we're going to be talking about my UI. But before we get started, please take the time to like and subscribe, as it really does help me out. Okay guys, a lot of people have been asking what my UI consists of, what add-ons I use, what weak orders I use, all that stuff. I'm going to be covering that all in this video, so hopefully this will answer all your questions. I've done this video so many times though, I might miss something, so if I do, let me know in the comments. Hopefully I'll be able to answer it really quickly. Okay, so first and foremost, my UI is made up mainly of LVUI. So like this chat box here, these unit frames for player, target, and target of target are all LVUI. And then these data texts down here, up here, and the map itself are all LVUI. The reason I use LVUI is because it makes everything look very clean and it's very modifiable. So you can make this thing look like anything you want if you put the time and effort into it. The problem is you have to put the time and effort into it, and it kind of sucks. So what I recommend, if you want to try something like LVUI, you can borrow my LVUI profile and try it out and let me know how that goes, or use your own, whatever you want. But LVUI does make things look a lot cleaner. So I'm going to just show you a couple cool things you can do with LVUI in case you're curious. So first, like I said, these are my my player, my target, and my target of target, all done through LVUI. It shows mana, health, percentage, name of target, things like that. But also, LVUI does these data text things, which are really handy. So this is my FPS showing my breakdown of all my add-ons. Yes, there's a ton of them. All of them aren't necessary. I could turn a bunch of these off, but whatever. This is nothing, and this is Atlas Loot. So what I mean by Atlas Loot is I can literally click it and open up Atlas Loot without having to look through it on the mini map or anything like that. Same thing with LFG Bulletin Board. I can just click it, close it, click it, close it, all that good stuff. And this is actually Item Rack. If you don't know what Item Rack is, it allows you to swap your gear very quickly. So right now I'm in the DPS set. Here's my DPS T6. Here's my tank set, and I've got them bound, so I don't actually have to press them. But if I don't want to bind them, I can click and then select any of the ones I have. This is my DPS no helm. It was when I had Wolf's Head helm. I don't really use this one anymore. That's why it's not bound to any keybinds. But yeah, really handy to be able to quickly get to this and find the right one. Also, I can right click to make my new sets if I need to. I know that the equipment manager is now available in the game right here, and I do have them set up. However, there were bugs with this earlier in the beta, so I'm still using Item Rack until I feel more comfortable using this one. But yes, this works just the same. I don't know if you can bind these yet. That's probably the only problem, but you can drag them somewhere. So in theory, you could bind then this key to the same thing I did before. This is much cleaner and easier. But the one thing I really do like about Equipment Manager, I just want to point this out, it's a little off topic, is because I've bound them, it now shows on the screen, see where it says Equipment Sets, DPS T6. It allows me to clean up, like, am I even using this piece anymore for any of my sets, or can I delete it? Like this one, it's only for, I don't see it for anything. So I could probably throw this in the bank if I wanted to until I, need to. Now I could swap this in for the Demon Tooth shoulder pads if I wanted to, but right now my sets don't require it. So that's kind of interesting to kind of be able to see that quickly, like what items are being used and what items aren't. Yeah, so like here, the boots right here are used for my regular DPS set. This ring is used for my DPS and DPS T6. Just handy. Anyway, I didn't want to go off too topic, but like I use Item Rack. Okay, now also my chat is handled through LUI. It allows you to create like separate. I mean, chat in general allows you to do it. But also like there used to be a second chat window over here, and I could drag stuff so I could see guild chat and maybe like LFG at the same time if I really wanted to. I don't ever have the need for it, which is why I deleted that other one over here. Well, let me unlock this. There we go. Move this back here. But yes, the one thing I really like is it shows the class color of the person, making it very easy for you to see what class they are. Mainly used in LFG and things like that, but just handy to know like what class is asking for what. It helps clarify questions people might ask, like when they're asking for something that might be meaning two different classes. If they are of age, you can probably understand better. Small things like that, but it does clean it up a lot. I also have my reputation bar down here. Now, I know a lot of people put reputation bars across the top. I like this because I don't really care 100% about my reputation at any given time, but sometimes I just want to know, like I'm farming my Ratchet rep right now, so I have this down here. But it's very out of the way and, almost not even noticeable, and I can hover over it to see the exact amount I'm on. Just kind of a a very easy thing. But also, if you want to change this, if you press Alt and hover over an item, like on the data bars, you can actually change this to something like, let's see how many guild members are on. Okay, I've got 3 guild members. And if you hover over it, it usually gives you a little bit more information, like tells you where they're at, things like that. But you could also switch it to, let's see what our attack power is. So my attack power in caster form is 1248, in cat form is 492. Just, you know, helpful to see like quickly, like, oh, okay, my attack power is higher in this set over this set. Stuff like that. But play with it whatever you want. Anyway, this profile will be in the description, so you can pull it down if you want to. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is, while we're at this little section, is details. This is details. I use 2 main ones. I use a threat one and a damage one. However, if you want, you can use multiple. You can have as many as you want. In fact, I run a total of 4 sometimes, especially during progression, because I want to see damage overall and healing done. I think those are just really interesting things to keep a track of, to see like who your healers are, how the healing's going. This is mostly for tanking. I don't really care about healing done when I'm DPSing, but that's what's great about this, is because if I don't care, I can just close it for now. These 2 windows are pretty much permanent. Let me close this one really quick so it's cleaner. But you can change these. So like if you're soloing, yeah, damage done is important, but maybe you want to see how you are healing yourself you know, while you're leveling. Well, you can just quickly change it to healing done. This will be healing done overall, and then if you want to change just for healing done for that particular one, you just switch to current segment. And that way, because you don't care about threat, you can be helpful. But if you want to switch back, you do need to know that you go to this, go to plugins, and then click Tiny Threat. Tiny Threat's its own plugin, so you kind of have to just know it's there. And then accidentally break the add-on while you're doing it. Well, let me fix this. Oh, I already switched it. Okay, perfect. So that is details. That's LVY. Let's talk about Bartender. Now, Bartender is the action bar add-on that I use now. So it's all this here, all this over here. So I want to get rid of that. And the main thing about Bartender that I use is actually for paging. But if you don't use the paging, now we'll explain how it works. You can definitely use the LVY built-in one. It works perfectly. Don't worry about it. There's no need to have an extra add-on if LVY can do it for you. But I currently have LVY disabled for this particular part, because LVY allows you to disable sections of it. I'm just going to show that really quick. So these are action bars. I just have it disabled. If I wanted to use it, I could click enable. It would require a reload, but I'm not going to bother doing that. So the reason I use Bartender is actually because of this. I actually already have it showed up because I've done this video enough times. So for certain bars, specifically bar 1, there's a thing called state configuration, which is like paging. So what paging does is it allows you to call one bar into another bar. So when I shift into bear form, my bar 1 turns into a bear bar, even though the bear data is stored on bar 9, which I'll show you right here. So it's just kind of like forcing it into bar 1, so that, because I don't need the bar 1 stuff, so it allows me to use the bear stuff. Very handy to do, and it's kind of automatic in most cases. However, there are some scenarios where I want to go a little beyond that, and that's why I use Bartender, and that is for, it's called modifier-based switching. So same idea, this is bar 1, but if I press Alt, page 5 will load, which is right here, and if I press Shift, page 10 will load, allowing these 12 buttons to actually work as up to 36 buttons at any given time using Alt and Shift. You can also use Control. I don't, because I actually use Control for my item rack. However, if I stop using item rack because I'll be doing more cat stuff, I might use Control and have it, you know, even more button choices to do with, to play with. Now the reason this is in a 12 button configuration like this, in this perfectly 3x4 rectangle, is because I use a specific mouse called a Naga Trinity. I'll put it up on the screen so you have an idea of what it looks like. And this allows me to press all these buttons using just my mouse. So if you ever listen to me live, or maybe even in my videos, you might hear a lot of clicking. I don't actually click things like that. I click it using my mouse. Like, I have a separate button for it, making it much easier for me to control all 12 of these buttons. And it leaves my keyboard free to do movement, and I also do all my shifting and my trinkets, and like any of my if I'm doing Nature's Grasp, it's the Z key. E is my cat. Q is my bear. Flight form is R. And so that way I don't have to like try to overlap. Like, my shifting and my movement is all done in my hand, or my left hand, and my right hand handles all of the actual spell casting and things like that. So yeah, that's why I have the 12 button set up like this. These are my two trinkets here. Now I used to use trinket menu, but I like the quick ability to swap these out if I want to. Not just for other trinkets, but for other items in case there's a certain part where I want them. Because I do have both of them bound, like this is F and this is G, and this is my trinket 1 and trinket 2, but shard doesn't have an on use, so it doesn't actually need to be there. So if I always use this one for on use, I could just, I'm gonna set it over here because I don't want to like go look for it. But I could move it, soothe animal, to my G key, so now I can quickly soothe animal. This might be used for when you're doing quests and you need to actually press a button, like press an item. You can throw the item right there and be done with it. Just a handy way to set up, though trinket menu and add-on does the same thing or something similar for trinkets. This is different. And this is just like my extra junk bar. I do have some bindings here. So like, I think, is it this? Yeah, so like, I have albino drake just to show off, bound there, because I don't actually ever use it. I have flight form, so why would I need albino drake? But it's kind of worth bragging about, so I have it bound there. But I just throw bindings over here and I just have them to quickly do. This is my jumper cables, my zap throttle, mode extractor, just stuff like that. And my water and all that other stuff usually ends up over here too. But that is my bartender, and that's why I use it over LVUI. Okay, next thing up is going to be Plater. So if you don't know what Plater is, it is a nameplate add-on, and there are a lot of them. There's threat plates. God, I can't remember the name of all of them. LVUI has their own plate system, and they all work fine. The reason I use Plater, and I'm actually going to show you the reason I use Plater over other ones. But you want to use something, especially if you're tanking, to be able to monitor threat. I kind of want like a cluster. Man, there's a lot of people farming over here. Okay, this will work. So the reason I use Plater is, so this is Plater right here. It's colored purple because I'm in tank mode, and purple means I have threat, and that's a good thing because I'm a tank. But if I'm a cat, it's red because I shouldn't have threat as a cat, and it's letting me know that through the color. The color scheme works even with multiple tanks. It'll let you know who you're tanking and who other tanks are tanking so that you can quickly see if something needs to be taunted. But the main reason I choose Plater, because they all do that, all the ones that you can do that. The main reason I use Plater is because of this tiny feature. So as you can see, I've rooted them, and the CC shows up over here with a name and how much time is left. Now, a lot of the other ones, they put the CC mixed up in the middle, and I have to look for it if I'm trying to track CC for like multiple targets. So let's say you have one rooted, one sheeped, one whatever. You can quickly see how much time's left to determine like where you need to get to as a tank. Like, oh, quick, I need to get over here and you know, reroute them or whatever. I'm trying to get another route on there. That's the only reason I use Plater over the other ones. They all work fine, but that's kind of like the key for Plater. Okay, and don't worry, I will talk about the threat number there just a second. So the next thing up is mixed scrolling battle text. That's actually what you just saw on the screen here. Normally when you do damage, the damage shows up over the targets, and that's usually fine, but when you're tanking multiple mobs, it's kind of a pain when you've got like all kinds of, I know it still looks pretty clustery here, but it looks harder to read when you've got like just tons of damage going everywhere all the time, especially with like things like Consecrate. So what mixed scrolling battle text does is it does the damage on this side, the damage incoming on this side, and the healing incoming on this side, and then like mana gains, rage gains up in the middle, and then anything you pick up shows up here. So this is like the main area. Like Savage Defense just fell off. It just went back on. I got 1.3 rage. I got Disdain, Lightning. So I can see like all the things that are buffing me. And then the damage I'm taking in here, and then the healing I'm getting in here. And it shows who's healing me, which is really handy if you're tanking, because you just kind of want to know who's your healer to keep an eye on like their mana over other healers' mana, especially if you're in a raid environment. Not as big of a deal as a cat, but definitely, and I turn this thing off all the time. Like sometimes I don't use mix just because it's nice to see all those huge numbers everywhere. But that's what I use in case you're wondering. Okay, the other thing is minimap button. This is this thing. It's this button right up here. It says M. You can actually, if you really know what you're doing, you can remove the M. But essentially when you click it, these are all my minimap buttons. Now normally if you don't have something like this, these buttons are just scattered everywhere. Some of them can be freely moved, some of them fall along this weird circle because like the old circle map. With minimap button, it's just clearly organized in a nice fashion, and you can hide them. So you don't have to stare at them, you can actually see the minimap, you can see the buttons and things like that. just makes it so much easier to like open stuff when you're not trying to like, you know, slowly stagger them so that you can actually see the clock and things like that. I do recommend it. It's a very simple add-on, but it does make things a little bit simpler for you with your add-ons, especially if you have like 15, 20, 30, things like that. Okay, the next thing is my grid. This is grid 2. If you never use this, this is my unit, not my unit. Well, I guess it's a unit frame, but it's my unit frames for party and raid. I have it showing it all the times just because I use it for remembering to buff myself. Like I can see like if I need buffs over here. But the actual customization of it is really nice in that I can see mana, I can see just all kinds of stuff. There is in my profile, there's currently a weird thing where it's showing energy sometimes when it shouldn't. I think that's a grid 2 problem because it didn't do that until Wrath, so hopefully I'll have that fixed by then. But the main thing is this is set up specifically for druids. It shows class colors, it shows health, it shows their name, but it also shows their mana bar, their rage, their energy, and it's relatively small enough that it's not overwhelming the screen. I really like this. You can take grid 2 and set it up however you want. It's another one of those very customizable unit frames tools. But I really like this particular setup that I have, so I will share that profile if I can. It's kind of hard to share some of these profiles just because they're not available to be shared on Wago. But yes, so this is my grid, and this is what it does. So like if I don't have these on here, it'll let me know I need to reapply them. Especially if you've got a 25 man and only one person needs gift. Yeah, you can just do Gift of the Wild now because it's relatively cheap. But if you just want to do Mark of the Wild, you can. It'll also show who has Innervate going. So like right now I just give myself Innervate. It'll show, and it won't just show mine, it'll show anybody that has Innervate. So if you're about to Innervate a mage and they already have it, you might want to consider Innervating a different mage. Things like that. But that is my grid 2. Okay, so that's my main add-ons for UI. Now we're going to talk about weak auras. Now my main one I've actually talked about before, and that is called, actually named after myself. Not because I'm like that, because that way you can easily find it. Grifton's Feral Tracker. It does all this stuff right here. It handles cat and bear, and it just shows a lot of... I've already talked about this in different videos, so I won't go into it too much. But essentially, it just gives you all the information you need for cat and bear. There's tons of them that do this. If you turn this off, it's whatever. You can get a different one. But this is just the one I use. I also use GCD history. That's the thing you probably see on the top of my screen showing which buttons I'm pressing. This is mostly just for when I'm streaming so people can see what spells I'm casting. And then the other thing I want to talk about is Where's My Mana? Where's My Mana is actually a bar down here. And what it does is it shows me my mana while I'm in cat or bear. So right now I can see I'm at 7335, and it goes away if you're in caster. Let me pop out of cat. There you go. Because the caster already shows it. It's a simple weak aura. I tried to do this in LVY but could not figure it out, so that's what I did. So if you're using my my LVY profile and you're wondering why you can't see mana, it's because it's a weak aura, not a part of LVY. The other one is threat differential on nameplates. I've actually talked about this a little bit, but I'm going to talk about it because it is, I think, one of the greatest tank tools in the game, and it's very rarely downloaded. So what this does, it shows me threat on multiple targets. So like this guy has 1.2k threat above the next person. So I don't have 2.4k threat total. I have that much more than the next person, or 0 if there's no other person. So like right now I've got 7k, this guy only has 2.2k, so I need to obviously put more threat into this guy. And this allows you, when you're pulling like, 8 to 10 mobs, to quickly see where the threat needs to be moved to. And if you're about to lose threat, you can see it because it'll change to yellow and then red. So you can just watch it if it's getting close. Just a really handy way, especially now in Wrath when you're pulling these huge pulls and you need to make sure that your threat is being distributed equally. It is a no-brainer, great one, and it's called Threat Differential on Nameplates. Really great. Get it from Wago. I'll try to link it in the description. Definitely one of the best weak auras I've ever found. I also have mount count. I was tracking my mounts at the time, so I made that not necessary. I'm just gonna go over these really quick. Art of War, that is for Paladin. Achievement Announcer, that's just to announce when I get achievements to my guild. I hate it. I don't care. And then stuff like that. But I think that's everything you would ever care about. If I missed something, again, let me know in the comments. I've been trying to do this video for a while, and I hate it because I always forget something. So just let me know. But thanks for watching, guys, and as always, take care.